Hey, what's up, people? This is Antho143 doing another video segment. The topic I'm going to be talking about media, music, and various other things that's just been on my mind. Now, I've been listening to a lot of music lately from pretty much a lot of people tend to love music. They tend to go for artists that are hot. Now, I've been out of the music game as far as listening to modern stuff, but I prefer listening to the older stuff, anywhere from the 60s all the way to, I don't know, not so much the 2000s, but definitely the 90s. And maybe possibly a little bit of the early 2000s. Anyway, I noticed that how the music industry goes is about things that are run by money rather than talent, rather than ability, and rather than heart. And I often find it very sad that you can just have a sick beat, they can have absolutely no talent, and you can be one of the top scoring or top rating music artists, even though you've never wrote any of the lyrics, you never really done the beat yourself, you just have a certain look. And the very people running the industry, media, mind you, it's not like back then in the 60s when it was Motown, when it came to running music, especially done by my black Americans. But it's run by people who probably never really know what it was like to struggle, or never really done music. Pretty much they go by what the audience would buy and what the audience would sell. And as I but as I hear this stuff, right? Hear what's being played, I often wonder, what has music really gone to? It's no longer about emotion, no longer about heart, no longer about soul, it doesn't even say much of a story. And if it does talk about a story, it's about the next person that person's going to fuck. And yes, I don't care too much about keeping my language down because my segment really isn't meant for kids. Not to mention, I just think that sometimes you can just be brutally honest, and I believe being brutally honest really gets the point across. People tend to pay more attention to explicatives. Can't even say it right, I get tongue-tied. I'm not even going to say it, but just cursing just grabs people's attention. And they tend to say, oh, you're uneducated, but at the same time, it grabbed their attention. But anyway, yeah. As I listen to it, I look at the styles and everything else, it looks like a throwback of the 1980s. Just the music it didn't have as much heart as it did back then. Didn't have much soul. I see a lot of rappers, quote-unquote rappers, and hip-hop artists and artists, doing a lot of autotune. And I remember back then in the earlier video segment, I mentioned something about autotune. I forgot the original artist that did that, but I do remember one other artist, which is one of my favorite, or not artist, group, excuse me. Zapp and Roger did it well, but they could also sing outside of just using autotune. And even then with their autotune, you could tell that they had some heart into the music that they did. It wasn't just about like, oh, getting the money. Nah, there was love, there was music, there was beat, there was funk. I like funk. Funk is awesome. And also during the time, hip-hop was starting to rise in the 80s. It used to be a positive thing. Now, it's about degrading women, talking about money and everything else, and how awesome they are. Oh, and I'm a gangster. I'm a G dog. Let me out, yo dog. I'm the greatest motherfucker in the world, bitches. That was a horrible impersonation, but basically that's what rap is now. Rap and hip hop is nowadays. So yeah, and I tend to try to listen to rap artists and hip hop artists that tend to have more of a poetic flow or tell the old stories of the streets. You know, people back then say, "Oh, that music was horrible," but back in the '90s, when it was gangster rap and when it was rap, that's how it was. It still is to this very day. Just nobody's telling the story for real. And if they do, they're most likely saying how they are a thug and how they're awesome, how they dominated their streets. But yeah, I often wonder what happened to music. Maybe I'm just getting old. As technology progresses, as we progress, I often tend to notice we tend to lose sight of ourselves. We tend to lose sight of our minds. We tend to lose sight of even how to treat people. It's quite possible that racism could still come back with a vengeance with this amount of apathy we have for each other. I remember my grandparents and, my grandma, telling me how you could actually talk to somebody on the bus. Nowadays, nobody wants to talk to nobody. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a part of that conditioning as well, of the technological age. But sometimes I do like to break out of it. Anyway, anybody who's watching who likes this or maybe doesn't like it, thank you for watching me anyway. Anybody who likes it, leave me a comment. Feel free to subscribe to my network because I'm just going to be starting and doing these videos. This is a very young series. Check out a bit of my early work, including the UCLA response, as well as another response I did last night for a response to the UCLA girl. You might find that a bit insightful. But yeah, check it out. And for anybody who's watching, peace.